one.
There are only a total of 9 legendary creatures that are banned in Commander. This not only means that you cannot run them in the 99, they can also not be your commander. So in today's video, we're going to check out 9 alternatives that you can run that do similar things in the same colors to these commanders. And if that sounds interesting to you, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. Let's get into it. The big bad boy himself, Griselbrand. And if you don't know what Griselbrand does, he's 4 and 4 black for a 7/7 flying lifelink, pay 7 life, draw 7 cards. Still bugs me that he doesn't cost 7. This card's absolutely bananas. Drawing this many cards in Commander for 7 life is actually nuts. Go ahead and activate this 3 times, draw 21 cards, and lose half your health. Plus, it's a 7/7 lifelink, so have fun getting back that health almost immediately. Another thing is, outside of counterspells, this card is essentially uninteractable. I mean, like, even if it gets removed, you can just activate it as many times as you want in response. So you're gonna get an insane amount of card draw. It's like, hey, let's staple Necropotence onto a creature, except you don't have to skip your draw step, and it's also a 7/7 lifelink. That seems probably fine. The Reanimator player in me, I don't mind if this gets unbanned. Of every other version of me, though, I get it. You also have to remember this thing is mono black, so have fun having a ton of mana ramp, tons of removal, tons of interaction, tons of board wipes, tons of protection, everything you're going to need. So yeah, but if you're in the market for a much more fair, unbanned version of this card, might I suggest Asmodeus the Archfiend, being 4 and 2 black, 6/6. If you would draw a card, exile the top card of your library face down instead, pay 3 black, draw 7 cards, pay 1 black, return all cards exiled with Asmodeus the Archfiend to their owner's hand, you lose that much life. Super cool. If you're looking for a mono black demon commander that draws you a ton of cards, you have like the pay life for card aspect. It doesn't have lifelink, so you can just like give it lifelink, put a Basilisk collar on this thing, and you've pretty much got a Griselbrand at home. Also, this one quite literally is Necropotence stapled onto a creature pretty much. Your draws go to exile. You have to pay life to get them back. You can draw a big amount of cards. This seems way more like what they were trying to do with Griselbrand. And again, mono black, you're gonna have tons of protection, tons of removal, board wipe. I said it already, it's very good. Moving on to the big daddy spaghetti monster in the sky, the big terror of magic himself or herself. Oh, interesting. Emrakul, the Eon's Torn. Emrakul is 15 mana for a 15/15 that can't be countered. When you cast it, you take an extra turn after this one. Flying, protection from colored spells, annihilation 6. When it's put into your graveyard from anywhere, shuffle your graveyard back into your deck. This one's weird to me. Because like, you read the card and you go, that's so powerful, I get it. But then you also read the mana cost and you go, well, shouldn't it be? Like, Omnipotence is what, 9 mana? Maybe 10, and you just get to cast spells for free? I mean, like, I feel like 15 mana should win you the game. The problem becomes, hey, I'm gonna sneak attack this Emrakul out. Sure, I don't get the extra turn, but I have a massive thing with Annihilator 6 that's doming your dome piece. The biggest part of this really is can't be countered, protection from colored spells. So literally uninteractable. That's a huge term you're going to keep hearing on this list, and a big reason, if not one of the only reasons, stuff gets banned is because they have a powerful effect that is uninteractable. You cannot do anything. It's gonna happen, and this definitely checks that box. And sure, if you're running Emrakul, the whole sneak attack line doesn't work, but you've also got cards like Geode Golem running around, so have fun with your Emrakul on turn like 4 or 5. At the end of the day, I definitely understand why it's banned in the 99, because absolutely disgusting card. And you can't help but think, put that disgusting card in the command zone where it's castable over and over again, and you can't help but immediately imagine the infinite mana combos, sack outlet, and you've got infinite turns on your hands. Again, uninteractable infinites, probably not gonna stick in the format. So if you're just looking for a big, beefy, scary Eldrazi that has a game-ending, board-warping effect, because let's be honest, you're not going to find another giant Eldrazi that does the same thing as Emrakul. That's why it got banned. So if you're looking for just powerful effect, big Eldrazi, Ulamog the Defiler, definitely that. Being a 10-drop 7/7, when you cast this spell, target opponent exiles half their library rounded up. Ward, sacrifice 2 permanents. Ulamog the Defiler enters the battlefield with a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to the greatest mana value among cards in exile. Not even exiled with it, by the way. So even if you Sword to Plowshared something earlier in the game that's huge, Ulamog will still check that. So that's really sick. And it has Annihilator X, where X is the number of 1/1 counters on it. Sacking 2 permanents. Not as easy as you think in some game scenarios. Exiling half a library is absolutely insane, and the fact that you can just put more 1/1 counters on this card with stuff like Agatha's Soul Cauldron, that's disgusting. Actually disgusting. Let me give my Ulamog more 1/1 counters so its Annihilator goes up and a ton of activated abilities. Sure. You wanted a big, bad, scary spaghetti monster? I think this is probably the second best one. That's my opinion. Let me know which one you think, which one you would have picked, and let's move on.
Bringing out the queen of uninteractability herself, Iona.
Shield of Emrakul. Yeah, this one, it's one of those cards where you read it. Emrakul, I understand, because you want to print something that's just like, whoa, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. This is one of those cards where you read it and you go, why? It's in white. Easily people's least favorite color at the time this was printed, and Emrakul was colorless, so like everybody got excited about Emrakul. They were just like, hey, let's print a mono white angel who completely locks a player out of the game. Not kidding. Iona is 6 and 3 white for a 7/7 flying. When it enters the battlefield, choose a color. Your opponents can't cast spells of the chosen color. This is one of the only times I feel bad for CEDH players, is if this was legal. You know what I mean? Because then it's like, actually no, I don't feel bad for you, because I'd be the reanimator player that would reanimate this on like turn 2 or 3 and then name blue and be like, Thassa's oracles can eat a dick, baby. Not only is this a whole ass color that just cannot be played anymore, this is not a cast trigger. You can cheat it into play and still do this. You can blink it to stop different players from playing during different turns. Not a lot of room to interact, because when you shut off one of the main removal colors like black or white, this thing's probably gonna stick. Oh, it's your commander. Play it again. But I hear you. You want something that can absolutely smother the opponents. You don't like people having fun. You want the rest of the table to not enjoy this game of Commander at all and completely lock one or multiple players out of playing at all. Where were you on January 6th? If you're looking for super stacks on a mono white commander, Linvala, Keeper of Silence is probably your second best bet. 2 and 2 white, 3/4 flying. Activated abilities of creatures your opponents control can't be activated. This still isn't stacksy enough for you? I genuinely don't know what to say. Iona is the most busted thing ever in my eyes. It's absolutely a disgusting card. Definitely deserves banned. And if you want a mono white commander that follows the stacks rules, Linvala is gonna be your girl. You're gonna put some Winter's Orbs in there. You're gonna put some crazy little, I can't even think of any. That's how much I hate this thing. Next, slightly similar to Iona, a commander that completely prevents game actions is Leovold, Emissary of Trest. Being a black, a green, and a blue for a 3/3, each opponent can't draw more than one card each turn. Whenever a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. I'm kind of just like here for fun casual commander, okay? So when I read cards, it takes me a second to understand why it's like, oh, this is gross. Like with this card, I was like, I love Sultai. I hate when my opponents draw a ton of cards and try to out-control me. This is great for me. I can stop all those control decks from drawing a ton of cards. I can still run Sultai. I get a little card draw engine. I like this thing. Till I remembered wheel effects. That's really all I've got to say here. Go ahead and play a Windfall. Everybody discards, and then everybody draws 7. Oh, wait, all of you guys only draw 1 because you can't draw more than 1 card on a turn, and my hand's full, and all your guys' are empty. This is one of the fastest bans that ever happened. This guy got banned 6 months after his release in Conspiracy, and yeah, to be fair, Commander was relatively new at that point. It hadn't been a format for a long time. So maybe they just like overlooked it, but then as soon as they like envisioned it in the Commander setting, they were like, oh yeah, we got to worry about that too. Yeah, that's banned. Designed to be a fun card you played in Conspiracy, outside of Conspiracy, serious balancing issues. But if you're looking for a Sultai commander that keeps your hand full with a powerful card draw ability, to be fair, I don't have a commander that will just shut off your opponent's drawing cards and doing something entirely, because yeah, that's the Sultai one that does that, and it's banned. I recommend Damia. Damia Sage of Stone is 4, a black, a green, and a blue for a 4/4 Death Touch. Skip your draw step. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have fewer than 7 cards in hand, draw equal to the difference. I genuinely might pick up a Damia. I kind of want to build just like Damia good stuff and just buy all my favorite stuff from back in the day. She's really good and fun by today's standards. She is easy to remove. She is a 7-drop. But again, she's in a really powerful color combination. You got blue for protection, green for protection, blue for counterspells, black for removal. She's fallen onto the wayside with how many like new sets and powerful things have been printed. She's seriously tough. I still think she's a super powerful commander. And if you're looking for more of like a casual alternative to running Leovold, I think Damia is probably your pick. If you want to do the wheel thing, throw a Narset Parter of Veils in there and some wheel effects. Moving on to the quickest entry on this entire list, because it's not going to take more than 2 seconds for you to go, oh yeah, that's banned, obviously. Rofellos Lanalore Emissary is 2 green for a 2/1. Tap it, add 1 green mana to your mana pool for each forest you control. What? You drop this guy on turn 2, and then on turn 3 you have 6 mana. And on turn 4, you have 8 mana. But I've got you. If you've always wanted to run a mono green deck that produces a large amount of mana, I recommend Selvala, Heart of the Wilds, being a 1 and 2 green 2/3. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, its controller may draw a card if its power is greater than each other creature's power. You can pay a green and tap it, add X mana in any combination of colors where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Scaling off lands, this girl scales off power of your creatures. So if you can get a big enough creature, this thing will seriously pump out, maybe not Rofellos levels of mana, but a lot of mana. But if Selvala's not really your speed, I also think Omnath Locus of Mana is fantastic. You just don't lose green mana, so you can just store it for the next turn and then store any extra mana the next turn, and you just start building up a ludicrous amount of mana in that deck. That was actually one of the first commander decks I ever built back in the day. Very fun deck, super green stompy, so if you're looking for green stompy, definitely go with that. There's also the new Brigitte or Bridget, I have no idea, from the Lanalore Eclipse set. I don't know how you say her name. You can tap her to add a mana for the number of creatures you control, but she's white-green, so if you're comfortable splashing white in for this type of deck, she's a great alternative. Moving on to Erayo, Soratami Ascendant, being a 1 and a blue 1/1 flying. When the 4th spell of a turn is cast, flip Erayo, and she flips into an enchantment that counters the first spell played by each opponent each turn. Erayo is one of the OG bans from when the format first got created. The reason being it was way too easy to get her to flip. You could just play like 2 0-drop spells, your normal card for turn, and then remove something, and you're like, oh, it flipped, and now you guys don't get to counter anything during my turn. The first spell you cast every turn is countered, and the rest of the game is miserable for all you guys. Honestly, you could just drop her, pass, and there might just be a counterspell battle that happens where someone tries to Swords to Plowshare something, someone negates that, someone counterspells that, someone offer you can't refuse is that, and you're like, oh, I don't know if you guys realize you just flipped my Erayo. So, and that's not even to mention the sheer amount of counterspells you're just going to be running in a mono blue deck. It's absolutely disgusting. And if you're looking for a mono blue deck where you're countering all the people's stuff and all the things and no one ever gets to see anything stick, Baral, Chief of Compliance. Yeah, whenever you counter something, you just get to loot. So have fun digging for more counter spells every time you counter spell. God, I hate control. Let's move on to the first one that I actually think should be taken off the ban list. Let's talk about Golos. Golos Tireless Pilgrim is a 5-drop 3/5. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a land card, put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Pay 2, a white, a blue, a black, a red, and a green to exile the top 3 cards of your library, and you may play them this turn without paying their mana cost. Very cool. For being a 5-color commander, which he is, we'll get into that, and being able to tutor up any land, super useful. Being able to grab like Maze of Iths or Mystifying Mazes, or you can tell I'm an old head. I really don't know some new really good ones to... Yeah, an Abandoned Air Temple. Sure, thanks. Everybody was running Golos. It was easily the most ran commander deck. It stayed there for as long as it was legal. You could plug any kind of strategy into it and it would fire off nicely. It was 5 colors, so you could plug any strategy into it and have access to all the cards you would want for that strategy, and it would still fire off nicely because when it enters, it tutors you up a land. I'm kind of getting lost on the bad part here. You don't think that if Golos was legal this whole time, after all the cool shit you guys have printed since he was banned, that he would still be the top commander? I genuinely don't think he would be. Because if you're the guy that's like, hey, Golo is boring, he literally just gets you a land and he's a mana sink, that's awesome, then you don't play Golo. But if you're the guy that's like, hey, I'm not a huge fan of building decks, I can never pick the right commander, I kind of have this pool of like goblin stuff that I like, or I have this pool of control stuff I like, or token stuff I like, and I just want a commander that I can throw in here and like plug it into, then run Golos. If you think Golos is cool, then run Golos. If you think Golos is lame, don't run Golos. I feel like this is an issue that would have just solved itself. I don't think everyone's forced to run Golos. No alternative suggestions here, justice for Golos. Moving on to the fastest ban in the game, we've got Lutri, who was banned before he was even printed. Lutri the Spell Chaser is 1 and 2 hybrid Izzet for a 3/2 with Companion. The Companion stipulation is each non-land card in your deck has to have a different name. It's a basic rule of Commander. So every single deck that had red and blue in it, you would make Lutri your partner, because there is quite literally zero reason not to. Because he's got flash, and when he enters, if you cast it, you can copy target instant or sorcery spell you control and choose new copies. So yeah, literally any deck that had Izzet in it, you would automatically meet the stipulation to have this as a companion, and that's just turning down a free extra card that doesn't clunk up your deck, it doesn't cause you to draw into it, it literally sits outside the game and you can play it whenever you want. Absolutely banned. Now sure, is this too strong as a commander? Is it ban worthy as a commander? No, but that's not how commander bans work. The card is banned, so you cannot run it in commander. Whether that be in the 99, whether that be in commander, you can't do it. So if you wanted to run this guy as your commander, I honestly feel like most of your buddies wouldn't care if you ran it as your commander, like as like a home rule type deal. But if you're looking for a legal Izzet commander that copies spells, throw a dart at a board, dude. You'll hit one. But if you need a suggestion, I think Stella Lee Wildcard is probably the best pick here. Being a 1, a blue, and a black 2/4, when you cast your second spell each turn, exile the top card of your library. Until your next turn, you may play that card. Tap her, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. Activate only if you've cast 3 or more spells this turn. Yeah, she's incredible, dude. Like, if you're in the Storm deck, she's really good. A lot of Spellslinger stuff is just cheap anyway, so she's gonna be able to copy stuff even if you're not in the Storm deck. I will never forget playing against my buddy Deegan with this commander, and he did not read the last line of text, so he thought she was just tap, copy, an instant or sorcery. And after about the second or third time he did that, me and my cousin at the exact same time were like, can we read that? Yeah, no, that seemed way too strong. You have to cast 3 spells. And he's like, oh, this isn't even that good. Also wrong. If you want a spell sling, she's your gal. And then finally, for our last commander that is banned of the day, we've got Nadu. Nadu Winged Wisdom is 1 green and a blue for a 3/4 flying. Creatures you control have, whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land, put it into the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. This ability triggers only twice each turn. Similar to Leovold, this commander was banned like very shortly after it was released. And yeah, it makes sense. You have 1 equipment that costs 0 to equip. You can just equip back and forth to those 2 creatures and you'll theoretically get infinite Nadu triggers. Now you might say, Nick, it says only twice a turn. That only applies to each creature that gets that ability. So for each creature, you can do it twice each turn. And the infinites in this thing were miserable. You literally sat there for 10, 20 minutes watching someone dig through their entire deck just to slap an endurance on the table and then shuffle their graveyard back into their thing, cycle through it again, all the while channeling Ottawas and channeling Bozejus to just nuke everybody's board down, fill our board with every card out of our deck that we want. We have all of our lands in play now. We can filter any cards into our hand that we want. And yeah, it's absolutely disgusting. But if you're looking for a commander that is a Simic commander that kind of has a similar like target my own stuff to get value build, I think Ivy Gleeful Spell Thief is very good. Being a green and a blue for a 2/1 flying, whenever a player casts a spell that targets only a single creature other than Ivy, you may copy that spell. The copy targets Ivy. Yeah, and this doesn't say you control either, so if anybody else throws an aura onto one of their own creatures, you can be like, oh, I think Ivy wants one of those too. Someone targets their creature to give it a bunch of 1/1 counters, I think Ivy wants a bunch of those as well. Plus, you just build the deck to do that. You play creatures, you start throwing powerful auras, powerful targeted instants and sorceries. All those effects happen to a flyer, which is Ivy. So bash their face with a huge flyer. All your stuff on board's really huge. Super cool card, actually. A commander I've definitely considered a few times. So there you are. I hope any of this was useful and you liked any of these suggestions. If you have any opinions on these commander bans, let me know down in the comments down below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you want to show me a little additional support, you can check out the YouTube members page or the Patreon page to donate $1 a month. It helps me out a ton. And with that, I will see you guys next Friday. Peace.